I remember it was like a big inflatable life-size Power Ranger. I had it in my room, and then one night I woke up and I was like proper screaming. I thought like I'm dead here. Like the Power Rangers came. Never watched Power Rangers since.
Mighty Morphin. It's Morphin time.
It's Morphin time. But yeah,
you woke up when it was just lying beside you.
Here's the crack, here's the crack, here's the crack, here's the crack, here's the crack. Welcome back, talking shit and drinking wine. Like and subscribe. Here's the crack.
How is it going, people? Welcome back to another episode of the Here's the Crack podcast. We're going to do another solo episode. Just to give you guys some banter. I want to start off.
Everyone's on the edge of their seats right now.
Everyone's on the edge of their seats.
Fuck yeah, Ross, let's get it.
Let's go. Some guy's driving the car and is immediately went up to like 100 mile an hour. And he's like, yes! The banter is flowing through my veins. Let's go. Anyway, this episode, we're just going to talk about a bunch of random bollocks. The first topic I have for you blokes is, do you believe in ghosts?
No.
Go home. Straight up no.
Go home. No. I think everything that you hear can be explained in some way.
What do you mean?
You know, generally like people seeing lights and stuff. Like
I think always convince themselves that they're saying something that they're not.
Do you believe that there are like spirits?
No.
Believe
in aliens though.
Of course you do.
What do you mean, of course I do?
You just remind me of someone who believes in aliens. I'm not surprised by that.
Explain to me why I remind you.
You just remind me of someone who, like, I would probably...
But aliens are confirmed to be real.
Yeah, fair.
But they are.
I don't know. I just don't believe
they
it.
They literally are. UFOs have been confirmed.
I don't doubt we're not alone in this planet, like.
Well, we're not alone on this planet. Like.
No, we're
not
alone
believe in
on this
every
earth.
sighting that's ever happened, like... Maybe one or two of them's real, like maybe thousands real.
Have you ever had any experiences though where, like, we're not going to talk about aliens, topics, ghosts? Have you ever had any moments where you were a wee bit like, oh, something's not right here? You know, did I see something? Did I not? Anything where you're kind of like, say if, you know, Bruno was with you where you're like, here, I just seen that. It's freaked me out a wee bit. Do you mind not touching that off the table? It's not mine. But you're like, do you know what I mean?
Have you never been like lying in bed and think there's someone at the bottom of the room, like there's something in the corner?
Oh. He just touched my leg with his foot.
That wasn't me.
So weird.
That wasn't my foot.
That was a ghost.
Sometimes you'd be like, oh, you think you see something when it's dark, and then you turn the light on and it was nothing.
Like a coat hanging up in the back of the door.
But like you're just convincing yourself that it's something. That's what I mean. Like I feel like people just convince.
Have you ever been lying in your bed at night and maybe lie face down and then go like, oh, and just get this like really weird sense of urge that you need to like twist around and like observe the room for a second?
But I think that's just in your head, like.
So like, what would it take? Like, do you think that everything has a plausible explanation?
Yeah.
I used to have this thing whenever I was younger that in our house there's like a hallway at the top of the stairs, as most.
Check you
out. In the middle, like whenever it was dark, like all the lights were off downstairs and I was like upstairs in bed, you'd have to walk across the top of the stairs to get to the bathroom.
Yeah.
But I used to be terrified to look down the stairs.
Yeah.
In fear of something fucking running up. Like I'd do a wee jiggle and fucking sprint from a wee hop step over the landing, like to get past the top of the stairs.
I know myself, whenever I was younger, like the thought of getting up during the night to like go to the toilet scared me sometimes. I was like, I don't want to walk down a dark hall.
Yeah.
I just pissed myself.
I remember get a wee thing and piss out the window. I remember there was one year I was maybe like 7, 8, teen, JK, joking.
Last week.
Mum for Christmas got me, I was really into Power Rangers, and Mum got me a punching bag, a Power Ranger shaped punching bag. So it was the yellow Power Ranger, which looking back on it now I think was a woman. Yeah. Not very, like, you know,
woman,
but then if she's a Power Ranger she can if she's a Power Ranger she can probably put up a good fight. But I remember it was like a big inflatable like life-size Power Ranger, and you put water at the bottom of it.
Right.
and then you could punch it, and obviously the water made it, you know, not go anywhere. But I remember then I had it in my room, and then one night I woke up and I was like proper screaming. I thought like I'm dead here. Like the Power Rangers came. Never watched Power Rangers since.
Mighty Morphin. It's morphin' time.
It's morphin' time. But yeah,
You woke up when it was just lying beside you.
But then ever since
Oh.
I my wee nephew's getting into Power Rangers and I have like a seizure.
Your dog wired it one night. And put it back in a different place. I was thinking of something else, sir. You thought it was moving around the room, but it was just your dog taking it away every night and putting it back.
I thought I was going somewhere else.
He's like,
I was going to town with a yellow Power Ranger.
That wasn't water at the bottom of it. Pool of cum. Oh my god.
Daddy, no!
Daddy, not the yellow Power Ranger. That's why they picked the woman one.
She had all the curbs.
The pink was just too far.
He
He
didn't
needed
want
to
to
keep
make
it
it too
needed to
obvious.
keep it low key. Oh my god. Anyway, I've never seen anything that's convinced me to like believe in ghosts. I've had a few like experiences where you're like, yo, what the heck happened there? Do you know what I mean? But I was actually looking it up. There are, you know, the way you can do a tour through the Crumlin Road jail, like a ghost tour. I just thought it was interesting. But I actually looked up what are the 5 most haunted places in Ireland. And at number 5, some of these stories are really freaky. You have Aughrim Battlefield in County Galway. Right? So in 1691, the blood ran thick and red across the fields of Aughrim. This was a massacre unlike any before it, as the cold-blooded Williamites lay waste to the Jacobite army in horrifying fashion.
Sounds like sci-fi.
Right? Bodies were left to rot there for more than a year until only bones remained. Today it stands as a vast cemetery of sorts where it can be heard, where haunted screams of those who died can still be heard for those who visit. That's creepy. Then you've got
somewhere like that.
So I
Out
used
switches. Have you been out switch?
no.
It's fucking great.
Is it creepy?
Yeah. There no birds fly over it or nothing.
Why?
That's what.
There's
'Cause of
proper
what
like
happened.
birds don't like fly over the thing.
What, are they just all telling each other? No, don't go there.
They're like the podcast. I don't
Is
know.
there a
There's just
reason,
so like as if it's a whole big spiritual thing.
Don't
It
know
is
that.
so like all out.
I've heard, like, I've heard-
it's just so airy.
Is it in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah.
Because you know a lot of them like tourists, like the pyramids and stuff, are like in the middle of cities. Though.
It's, yeah, no, it's like out from Krakow, so,
No.
and it's in the middle of nowhere, but it's so like.
Yeah, I've heard like
negative
that.
vibes,
I wanted to do it at the time, and then COVID kind of cancelled our Poland trip. Like 2 weeks before we were meant to go. But I know, like you had said, you did it, and you didn't really do history or anything, did you?
No.
So you were, whereas like we done like World War II and all, and I was really interested in all that. So I wanted to go, and like it's just one of them things, like. And people were saying like, you know, you need to have like quite a good stomach for it. Like
It's not fun, like, do you know,
Yeah.
but I think it is. It's an experience, I suppose.
there's another one which actually sounds really creepy. Pardon me if I say this wrong. Lufthans Hall in County Wexford, right? It's always the ones with like children kind of ear me out a wee bit. Do you know what I mean? Like freak me out. So this seemingly idyllic country house is also home to a legend steeped in mystery, the curious house guest with the cloven foot. The story goes that a young girl by the name of Anne Tottenham was left traumatized while minding the property after encountering a house guest she wholeheartedly believed to be the devil. According to legend, the man mysteriously died after flying through the roof of the house. In the wake of his death,
What?
Anne locked herself in her bedroom, remaining there until her death in 1775.
How do you fly through the roof?
Today, that same hole remains, while Annie said to still wander the halls.
How did he fly through the roof?
Well, she believed he was possessed by the devil, and then he took flight and flew through the roof.
He just fucking yeeted him.
No, too much Red Bull.
Bounce too hard in the bed. Just the way to fuck.
We've watched Stranger Things, like the new season. Have you?
Do you believe in all that stuff?
No,
like,
no.
I think that's more fucking realistic than
getting possessed by the devil
The
and next
upside
thing.
down.
yeah,
like,
but
he's
it's
fucking-
essentially
he's fucking Superman.
parallel universe.
I do.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do. I believe that Flip in Vecna. No.
I fucking hope not.
You know, like,
There
There could be
You wouldn't want
there
him
could be an
running
alt-
you were not a man like that.
there
running
could be
around
an
the streets.
alternate universe where everyone's just pure rotten, like
Aye.
Pure.
But
just
like,
so deformed and all like that. Like
yeah, like imagine that was real. Like imagine you go home with a woman and the next minute she like just begins to, or like me and you, us three just chill. The next minute he just starts floating. And I'd be like,
That
yo,
was so
mate,
grim,
chill
man.
out. Like,
That was so grim.
and that would be weird. Like, what would your Vecna song be? If you started
I don't
floating up
even
in the
know,
air
like.
and I had to grab the Spotify, like,
DJ
And
Calmy, Country Roads, take me home, baby, take me home.
Fuck, I don't even know. Like.
That's a really good one. Like.
yours would definitely be a Sam Fender.
Don't know. Like. One of my favourite songs is that The Killers When You Were Young. Like.
Yeah.
So I'd put that up there because I've liked it for so long. But I don't know. It's hard to pick like a favourite song.
Yeah, what would your one be?
If you played Eminem till I claps for me, I'd just beat the fuck out of
You
you. Like.
get on, like, just feel it.
You just awake and be like, yo, rip his throat out. Yeah, there's so many creepy ones here. Like, there's actually a place in Derry. It's apparently a grave like no other. This man was apparently no ordinary man. He was buried upright and upside down. He is thought to be the world's first vampire and likely inspiration of the Bram Stoker's Dracula. He was a vicious, blood-drinking monster that was short in stature and thought to practice black magic. He was known as the Red Bloodsucker. They claimed he could only be killed by a wooden sword and buried head downwards. Locals are advised to give this mysterious grave a wide berth, particularly after dark.
Where
it's
was
just
this?
gone,
Where is this?
Blood's blue.
This is Glenullen in County Derry.
So Dracula.
There is in Cork district, there's a lunatic asylum, which is said to be so it was built in 1798, and it was noted by noted Irish psychiatrist William Saunders. This now abandoned asylum was not a happy place. His methods were very extreme, to say the least. He created something called the Halloran's chair, which rotated hysterically patients at up to 100 revolutions per minute, and it rarely had the desired
What the fuck
effect.
does that mean? Can you move it a
Spins
bit?
round 100, like spins a minute.
Inmates largely lived out their day
Not
in
even
a
far
state.
out of it.
You're near far out.
Inmates largely lived their day out in a state of paranoid despair. Today, paranormal investigators claim to have both seen and heard voices of these tormented souls.
Lies.
That's mad. Like,
Have you seen that new horror movie on Netflix that was filmed in Dublin?
no,
No.
No. Watched it on. It was pretty good.
don't watch horror films. Like, freak me out.
I watched it on,
Thanks.
The first and only horror film I've watched Woman in Black. I don't think you could classify that as a horror film. It's more like
Not
a
with fucking
kind of
Harry Potter, aren't we?
Harry Potter. I watched that. Was it The Conjuring or something like that? And it starts off. It's like a phone call, and it's like three people are dead, and I killed them. And I was like, nope. I just turned it off.
See,
I don't
never-
mess with that stuff. Like, don't mess with it.
No
Like,
thanks.
nah.
You should watch it. It's not that scary. I can't remember. No, it's called You're Not My
You
Mother.
say that, but you're proper horror film mad. Like.
It's called You're Not My Mother. It's not. It's actually not scary. It's more of a thriller. Like, it's
What
good. Though.
do you think's the scariest horror film?
Don't know. I'll have to go back. As Above, So Below, so good.
What's that?
They're going to the catacombs in Paris.
I think I have heard of
Is
that.
it like that one that's shot like first person? You know, like it's like
Yeah, found footage.
It's like
I love found footage.
Cloverfield.
Yeah, it's fucking brilliant. And they go
Is
into
it
like
proper
catacombs and then
scary,
like, come
like?
across all these monsters and shit, and like then they get lost in it, and turns out it's just a maze.
Oh my word! I
can't get
know.
out.
Like,
On the day.
It's the claustrophobia of it and all. Like,
yeah. It's fucking
so
sick, like. Fuck, I couldn't
a
do
group
it.
of
so many aspects.
a group of mates went to the jungle and done like the horror night at the jungle.
It's a horror night.
And they
It
were
doesn't
like,
sound
"Do you
very
wanna-"
scary.
Yeah, they were like, "Do you want to come?" And I was like, "No." I just full on went, "No."
What do you do?
On
You
the
go outside
They
and
chase you with chainsaws and all, and
Well,
like
it
you go
didn't
into
come
like
by.
you go into like a cornfield and all, and it's like a cornfield maze, and like people jump out with like machetes and like, and all I'm thinking about is like it's over here. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't take someone who's loony bin enough just to jump a fence with a proper chainsaw, appear from behind a bush, and you're sitting there going like, oh, you know, maybe the woman there trying to act all tough, and the next minute her head comes off, and you're like,
Yo,
that's an
out.
actual lunatic in play here. Like,
they take the chains off though. The chains
no,
off.
but that's what I'm saying. What's stopping some other lunatic walking in?
I know, like.
it's risky enough for them because they could come up against someone. Like, imagine some wee like lad from fucking up the road there, and he's a
Jimmy
comes
from
a bit
up
of a
the
switchblade.
road.
He's a bit of a scanger. Brings a wee knife down to it, like, and he fucking comes to me with a chainsaw. I'm gonna fucking give him my chainsaw.
Give him a
Fucking give
chainsaw.
him- stabs him with a butter knife. Like.
I took to Reddit to see, you know, people who have uploaded their own scary stories. Some of them are really creepy.
Did you know, before you go on, Halloween was actually invented in Ireland?
Was it?
What?
Yeah. It was invented in Ireland. It was created as a day, or it was supposedly the day where what would you say, the spirit world is closest to the normal world. And they light the bonfires to allow burn all the spirits. And then used ones fucking started lighting bonfires.
Speaking
Get
of
you closer to King
bonfires,
Billy.
We're coming up to the 12th of July, boys.
They are, hey.
They're being built.
Oh, aye, they're being built.
Have you seen the one that's like the first castle one? Like?
No.
What's
There's
this
a
about?
big,
I've seen this.
massive, like circle thing in the middle, the usual one, but then there's like four different
Oh my
pillars on the
gosh, like-
outside.
Do you know what I just thought? Who the fuck has the time to sit about and do this? Like,
Who does? Who? You tell us. Like
who
what-
builds these?
I
Like,
don't know.
who builds these?
I know, but you obviously know. Like what way does it work?
So
We should actually go into this. I think this is interesting.
So-
Right? So when does the planning begin? So like when is it-
Surely they didn't just
Like,
rock
when-
up one day and build that in an evening. Like,
When-
on
did
the
the
pallets?
architecture
Like
come out?
when is it right, boys? We need to start thinking about where we're getting
So-
our pallets. So.
about a few weeks ago, I was in a wee village outside Ballymena, and they had a hut built where they have the bonfires.
Yeah.
right.
They always have a bonfire. Like you could go to like around my area. I could take you to wherever the bonfires are, like where it's like
I could show you places you've never seen before.
I mean, like you could, like it's just
Could show you things, man.
Like, bearing in mind, like it's other things that you're driving,
shit.
you're driving around, and like you obviously, like I don't go to the bonfires,
Yeah.
but like when you're driving around, you obviously see them up. But like even now when you're driving past them places, they always have huts. So you
And
know,
what is the hut? Is that like
so the
people
hut is like
watch out and
they're
watching out? Like?
yeah.
Please
so
tell
like,
me someone does not sit in a fucking hut.
so I don't
A
think
grown man sits in a
Is it
hut at
24
night.
hours?
I don't think it's a
situation?
24-hour watch thing, but like it's like a community thing. It's like they build like a wee hut, and like one's go and sit in it during the day while they're observing the like to maybe take a break
Alright,
or
so it's
something
more
from
like-
building the bonfire.
Right.
But like how long before do you start? Like
Weeks, months. Like you're preparing for maybe end of May, start of June.
Have these people not got jobs?
Yeah,
But is it like
the
is it-
evenings are longer?
is it
like,
is it just everyone else to work just bombs down? like?
anybody who cares? But
Or
then
is
you've
it
also
mostly like younger
you've
ones?
also
like?
got a mix of it. You have like where are young kids getting pallets? So there has to be older
Ah,
ones in play. Like
Whenever we were young, well, we weren't getting tires, like. Whenever you run about raiding for the bonfire, and
I know, but
Halloween,
you
like,
live in the Wild West. Like,
yeah, you would have run in and got tires out of fucking people's yards. And
actually,
shit,
like,
like.
do you know what I mean? Like it started like it's on its
Growing up, would it have been a thing like by saying to you, "Oh, you coming down to the?"
I
bonfire?"
remember my next door neighbours. They're both now dead. I remember my next door neighbours when we were younger. Like they would have took their kids to see the bonfires, and then whenever they grew up, like we were obviously like they took me one night. Like, but there's a place in if you go up to Slamish, you can see like them burning like all around like different places in Ballymena. You can see them all. Like a lot of people just go for like to drink.
Yeah,
like a lot
yeah.
of people just go like to meet up with people. Like say if it's like like you know whenever it happens, they go when they meet. A lot of people do it because obviously like culture and all that there, but like a lot of people, it's the same with everywhere. A lot of people do it and they're just out to, they don't care about anything. They just want to go out and get airlocked, like. Yeah. But yeah, they're up and running now. Like, where's your closest one? Where's your closest Bonnie?
They built a massive one in Armagh, and it was so big. I don't know where to point me describing this on the podcast, like, but like, you know, if you're driving straight past the prison, but like, you know, the way you can go like where the mall is, you go right towards the MOT centre. There used to be one, but like it was that big that it fell and like houses caught on fire and shit, like.
Well, I know, like,
and then there's a big one in Portadown, like.
I know, like back there used to be like no like sort of policing in terms of like where the bonfires was at and like shop.
Is there much policing now? Like,
I think so. There has to be a level to an extent. There has to be, you know what I mean? Like the one, like imagine if someone put a bonfire up right beside your house.
But like how do they like make sure that like it doesn't fall? Like how do they build it? It
seems like I don't know. I'm not involved
that's
in
funny. What I was thinking the other day, like they're big fucking structured, like.
Yeah, that's what.
Like you can't like as a assistant architect, you can't like throw a fucking structure that big up without getting fucking planning permission, going to building control to make sure it stands up, like.
But like,
so
who's also gonna be stupid enough to challenge them?
I know, but it's not
that will cause
like, surely like when you're saying about young ones being helping out, like they need to be doing it a certain type of way for it to like actually not fall over, like.
Because that one, and what if it Portadown's very fucking close to the road, like.
And what if it falls over, like, and someone gets hurt? Is it?
It just takes a bit of bad wind, and that's you.
If anyone has any information on these things, like, please enlighten us. Like.
See, to be honest with you, like I'm not involved with it. Like I'm round the areas where I see them being put up and stuff. Yeah. But it's honestly like it's never something like, and it's never even something that I've drove past and went like, here we go again. You know what I mean? Like it's just normal. Like that's just what I've grew up around. Like, but I would never purposely like most like people, like not most people, but like I would stay in on the night because it's like you just know you're going to end up running into like mad amount of people. Like I wouldn't even say trouble. Like there's some ones where I probably would be happy enough going to. I know there would be no issues at all. Again, you have people who go to these things and some people are out for trouble. Like it's the same reason why do people
you get that anywhere,
like people put pictures of stuff up on bonfires or flags up on bonfires. Like I don't agree with that. You know what I mean? That's just,
I don't really care. I just find the whole thing, it's interesting, the planning of it, like, you know, and building it. You know, it's a big thing, like.
It's like clockwork, like.
You seen that one last year where it was at Larne, like it was some size, like it was massive.
Well, they all fall over like when they burn, don't they?
Yeah, but the thing is to be well away from it, like. But yeah,
how do they light it?
Just petrol and.
Is it just like,
I don't know.
I think they fill the middle of it full of like debris, like broken off pieces of wood and shit, so it lights easier on the inside. Yeah. So the inside's hollow, like it's not pallets the whole way through, like. Yeah.
I honestly don't know. That's mine. That you've got enough knowledge from me as I know, like.
Very well then.
But yeah, like some scenes, like.
Some scenes.
But it's the same thing we use. Like you have all your sort of things you do.
Bonfires.
I don't think you have bonfires.
You don't be a dock crack,
but yeah, here, each their own.
Save the environment.
Why? How did we get on to this from talking about?
Because Halloween.
I see.
Bonfires and our holiday segue. Where were we?
We were talking about haunted things. I'll read out one of the ones that I seen on Reddit, and then we'll move on. Did you find other things on Reddit that you want to talk about?
Yeah, just that one. One would probably be only 2 minutes.
Okay, so there's this guy put up on Reddit, and he goes, "I was 13 when this happened. I was shortly hanging out with my classmates in the ladies' room. Up to no good. We were splashing water at the water sinks, and I ran to the end of the washroom to avoid some of the splash. I looked into the last stall of the toilet. There was a girl. She looked a bit startled and hid behind the door. She peeked out at me. It was nothing for me, as I thought I caught her when she forgot to close the bathroom door while she was using the toilet. I thought nothing of it.
Me. What does that mean?
I told my classmate there was a person who forgot to close the door at the last stall. My classmates looked in absolute horror. They told me there was nobody else apart from us in the toilet. I didn't believe that. I actually thought they were joking as I saw the girl with my own 2 eyes, staring for 1 second. I went down to the bottom of the room to look again. There was no one in the last stall. Now,
What?
like, it's hard to tell. It's hard to differentiate between people who like talk bollocks or people who like actually, you know, have.
But is that like a girl did go into the toilet and it like had left then by the time he came back? If it was just them
But they were
doing
still
it?
in the toilet, as far as I'm reading that. Like they were still in the toilet.
Yeah.
Weird.
Plot twist.
Weird. Like
I snuck out the window.
Was he just seeing things? Though?
could have been.
Why the fuck was he in the girls' toilets?
I know.
That's the questions you need to be asking.
I know.
Wee chancer.
Wee chance. Wee chance.
Naughty boy.
Dirty girl.
Or
Actually, I seen a really good fucking horror thing.
do you live
the
for
other
this
day.
stuff? Like
Yeah, well, more just movies
Weird.
and shit. There was
Weirdo.
weird.
fuck off.
Weird.
I get off in horror movies. Like.
Too much information.
Morphin time?
There was a really good one I seen on Reddit. It was fucking class. It was like I wanted to tell it, but I basically just ruined it. But it was this girl and she was like a photographer, like what you would do, like just go out and like nature photographer and shit like that there. But she'd found this here place, and like it was like in a forest sort of setting, and she'd went out one night and she took photos and stuff, but she'd set up her tent and things and like her wee area for that she was going to stay, but she'd went out around the forest and stuff and worked away.
Ballsy enough.
She'd other like cameras set up, you know, for like tripods and shit to capture like wildlife. But anyway, she went away on and was like taking photos all night or whatever, but she'd came back and there was like her cameras were missing, couldn't find them, so she sort of like panicked and was like, fuck, maybe I left them in the car or whatever. So she went back to the car and shit and like checked, couldn't find them anywhere. And I think she sort of just gave up and then went on about her business, fucking like taking photos and shit, and went and stayed in her tent that night. And she came back the next morning and all the cameras were like outside her tent, and she went and like lifted them and started looking at them, and there was footage of her like on the cameras. So someone had went into her tent at night when she was sleeping and videoed her and left the cameras back. They'd previously stole them.
What the fuck, man?
It's fucking so weird. Like,
That's
probably didn't tell it
scary.
as good as it. Like she had it down. Like it was in so much detail. But fucking creepy shit. Like, could you imagine something like that happening? whenever
That
you're
probably
drunk?
wasn't a ghost. That's more
Just a
believable.
fucking
That's just a
pedo, like.
creep. Like.
If that was me, I wouldn't have stayed, like.
No, if you fucking
You would have
cameras were
been
missing,
straight
yeah.
in the car, like.
Yeah.
Fuck that,
No,
man.
no thanks. Like,
I think she just,
Tent and
I
all,
think she
man.
just jotted it down to like a fucking something stole, like an animal stole it or something. Like.
Yeah.
But like someone who took it, went away with it, probably followed her around the place, like followed her back to her tent and videoed her sleeping and all, and just left the cameras there.
That's so fucked, like.
But she didn't. She actually, that was the other thing. She didn't realize until she got home the next day, because obviously it's a GoPro. Wasn't looking at the footage, and she was sitting on her computer like looking over the footage and seeing all this.
No,
That is
no, it's
nasty,
just creepy. Like that is
Fucking
just
pure
creepy.
weird,
Like.
Why do that, man?
Who
Yeah.
yous had a wee look on Reddit, didn't yous?
On a lighter note,
On a lighter note.
seen this thread on Reddit, and it was like, what made that legendary kid in your school a legend? So basically, that story about the fucking guy punching his teacher or whatever in the stomach. But I was thinking of one. It wasn't in high school, but in primary school, there was this guy, right? Whenever you're in primary school, you always used to go to the toilet together.
Right.
So whenever you went to the toilet, there was a urinal in our primary school.
Piss up the wall.
So yeah, that's what it would be like. You'd all stand next to each other and piss up the wall.
Yeah.
But at this
What?
point,
Yeah,
do you not never do
that?
this?
Oh, you're
No.
You go to the toilet again, you all piss up against
no,
the wall.
like
and
a
shit,
big
like.
long tin urinal.
Yeah.
You always
Oh,
used to go.
right,
"Psst."
You stand in line, you all go out to the toilet again, and you just go for a piss, like.
Yeah.
But whenever there was, it was at that time. What height would you be in, like P2 or something? Like say,
Like 4 foot.
yeah, like 4 foot or something. But like you were below the height of the urinal.
Yeah.
So at this point, we were like sitting beside, and there was one day we were like all like pissing away, like fucking trousers down around the ankles as you do before pissing, like. And they're all like, right, who can piss the highest, like.
Yeah.
So this became a thing, like, who could piss the highest, like, and you know, you get like fucking right near the top and all.
The roof?
But the not the roof, like, but near the top of the urinal, like, which was a fucking far reach, like, that's a good meter, like.
Struggle to get that now.
But there was one guy, like, he was known for like being the highest pisser, like, and one day he pissed over the urinal. Like. I mean, we were all in shock with this, like, and we were going and telling each other, like, fucking he pissed over the fucking urinal, like the highest pisser. And I mean, for years after that, like, me and another fella, like, our friends in school, like, always remembered this, like, as him as the guy who could piss the highest in the urinals. But he, like, the boy left like 2 years later.
Yeah.
And like, we'd always remember him. Remember, he pissed so high in the fucking urinal. Like, he was labelled a legend.
He
in
was
our
going
primary
to another
school,
school, and everybody was like, that school's so blessed to have him. Like. That school's urinal.
We were all like,
was going ahead
I wonder where he is
Did
now.
you ever
Like,
like go to the toilet at the same time as him in high school and just look at him? Like,
yeah.
fucking amazing.
You're
Man.
beautiful.
I love how
bumping
now at an older age we all avoid urinals like the plague. Like, I hate urinals now. Like,
People are so awkward about it. I'm not really.
I don't mind. It's just if someone comes and stands beside you, and it's like,
I think I always remember
like,
whenever I went to
if
the
it was
Ulster
really
matches.
busy, like if it was like the likes of like a concert or something, and there only is one space beside someone, would you not use it?
No,
I would, like.
no.
probably if it was the only one, and it was. If you're not going out of your way to go sit beside someone in the urinal,
I know.
like,
I don't like it when there's like loads of spaces and someone like that's weird. Like, but
I just remember the old. Whenever we used to go to the Ulster rugby matches, whenever I was younger, like I just remember at the end, like obviously everybody had just
rugby
been
lads.
Everybody had just been
the
drinking.
rugby lads getting naked when they
Like,
piss.
I remember I was like 10,
Pissing all over each other and all. Like,
I was like,
clothes at
I
the
was like
door,
11 or 12, and like you were sitting at a urinal. You're not sitting at a urinal. You were like standing at a urinal at 11 or 12, and it was the same thing as the schools. It's just long lines, like just like 10 urinal, and you're just getting battered about from these like men who were like who'd been who the whole night drinking, like. So you're just this like wee fella, and it's just like, you know, I hated it. Like.
I have PTSD
just a wee
from
fella
going.
with your wee fella.
That's what Crow Park's like, isn't it? It's like the big fucking 10
I
urinals.
can't even remember.
I remember being a wee lad. I always used to wear the Armagh shorts to the game. Like. You know, you'd wear your Armagh shorts, Armagh jersey and socks and everything. Like. Maybe like fucking 6 years old or whatever. But going to the 10 urinals, all these big men standing beside you and the steam rising up and the fucking piss just dropping you in your leg. But like at that time you wouldn't really give a fuck. But now thinking back, that's fucking disgusting. You're basically pissing on a wee lad. Like.
I don't think they were doing it on purpose.
Not on purpose, like, but like, now
stick your
now
leg
you
out
think
there.
now you think about it, like,
They're
it's
all
fucking
like-
disgusting, and all the steam rising up, like.
Oh my!
You inhaling it, like, and then your piss chop leg.
Steamy nights at Crow Park.
I'm telling you.
Not be wearing fucking shorts back to Crow Park.
I remember one of the classroom assistants that we had, like very quiet woman, like, but there's one time P6 she done something and we were like, yo, she
Where's
is
this
a
going?
legend. Like, so we all in P6 went to Aunt Sandra's sweet factory in Belfast, and you made these like hard-boiled sweets. We were obviously pure buzzing because it's like, you know, we were let out for the day and like big trip and all on the bus and all, like making hard-boiled sweets. And we came back to the classroom and it was like maybe half an hour before we were meant to go home, and we were writing up about our experience at Aunt Sandra's sweets factory. So our teacher had said, like, you know, if you sit and you do this, like we'll pass around one of the sweets that you made at Aunt Sandra's sweet factory. And we were like, sound. Like, so we passed around the sweets, and this girl started choking on like one of the sweets. Like, you know, when it goes from like just a choke and you're a bit like, oh, like
It's a cough, 2 coughs.
way on there. Then like 30 seconds later, like she was proper like there, and I was like, yo, here, like,
You okay, Will?
she's actually like choking here, but like she couldn't get air out. She was just like dribbling from her mouth, and I remember it really vividly, like just saliva just like dripping out of her mouth, like she couldn't get air, but she was like, ah. And our teacher at this stage was in the room, so she started walking up and obviously started like bang bang on the back of their back and all, and wee girl was just like, ah, but like it was all over, like coming out all over the table and all. And I remember like I was at the table next to her, and like all like the the kids who were at the table with her like got up and like was like, oh, and everybody pure freaking out like. And the next minute she goes, oh, go get the classroom assistant. So like this one, she was quite like,
how much time did you have?
Someone said like she was down like at the teachers like lounge area, like just getting like water and stuff, because obviously we're all eating sweets. And I remember like this has all happened so quick, but basically once figured out like this girl is actually choking and is going to die if this doesn't come out, like we're screwed. So I remember it was one of the girls opened up the door and just yelled like Miss Robinson like that there, and she came in, like same woman, like she works in the Spar now, quite tall. She came in, hey, oh my word, it was something I'll never forget. It etched into my memory. Picks the wee girl up and flips her upside down.
It's like some Matilda shit.
Like our teacher at the time was like, she's choking. She just beelined straight for your wee girl and no hesitation at all, just went, she needs to go upside down, lifted her upside down over the, should it get a bin, drag the bin and
God, make sure it doesn't go on the floor. Her after vomiting half a fucking bucket of saliva up. Like.
She had her like by her ankles, and your wee girl was in the bin just while the teacher was giving her the flip. Next minute, out pops the sweet, and everybody was like, yo, like she just saved a life. We were all pure hype, like.
Oh my god.
And
how did she had her by her ankles, but she was going like this?
no, like the teacher
like,
the teacher was still like giving her like the but your doll walked in and just went and coped her up above the bin, like. And we were all like, holy moly, this is mad, like. But she will forever go down as an absolute legend, like, for doing that, like.
The teacher or the wee girl?
No, the classroom assistant.
Oh, right.
She can't even chew her fucking sweets at age.
You know what I mean?
Mad,
But anyway, that was my experience. Do you have any experiences yourself in school etched into your memory, primary school?
Can't really think of anything, to be honest.
Such an exciting life. Did you not piss up a urinal? No.
Probably went to the toilet, like. But
Did you ever take a shit in primary school?
I can't remember, like.
Did you ever take a shit in high school?
Did you ever?
Probably.
Did you
Yeah.
ever go to the toilet in high school?
Yeah.
I never took
I've
a
never
number
took a
two.
shit in high school.
I never took a
I
number
think
two.
I definitely did, like.
Oh, man.
Was there not
Gives me-
days where your stomach
How?
Nope.
fuck, like?
But how? I'd raw shit myself.
No, never.
Do you
I
mind?
think I did,
No.
like.
I think I did
Couldn't do it,
when
like.
we were in upper sixth, and that was because like like the sixth year, like the toilets were a lot less in the sixth form centre, were like not communal.
We didn't get those.
Like there was only like a few ones there.
But I think it's a thing now. I've heard that you go for a PE shit. So like once you're in school, you just go way down, because the PE corridor is like way out of the school. You go way down in the PE corridor and round into the PE change rooms. You go for a shit down there, like.
Yeah.
That's where it's at, like.
Oh, take me back.
days.
The good old days. You had a segment that you want to talk about housemates.
Time, like.
We do.
Love
5
it.
minutes you can
Go
devote to
quick. Bang it out.
What?
Bang it out quick.
Just talking about looking at nightmare housemates, so
Right.
living people.
You.
Me and Shea had a magical 3 years together. Do you have any experiences
Thought
about having nightmare housemates?
probably just same as you.
One thing that I was reading about and like rung a bell to me was like people not saying they don't use the heating so they don't have to pay the bill. Like,
Yeah.
do you remember
Remember
that one?
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't turn on the heating, so like they
See, you
weren't using it.
You
Like.
have to turn on the heat though, or it's going to get fucking damp and stinking. Like.
But it would be like, oh, I never put the heat on, so like I'm not
Yeah.
paying for it. Like, so they wouldn't pay for the heating.
That's not logical.
Do you know what I mean? But you're
But it is a fair point. If
We were living
in a way, yeah, I get it. But at the same time,
it's so
there needs to
patty
be
though,
some,
like.
yeah,
But it's such
it
a
is.
patty thing.
Yeah, it is.
Like us going like that would have been like us putting the heating on and being like, oh, we're putting the heat on here, get out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Like why would you subject someone to not putting heat on living by your rules just because you didn't want to pay? Like? In a way, that's kind of the same as like us three going like not 2 hours down the road and like being like, oh, Thomas, you're driving, and us not giving him any money for petrol or whatever. Just be like, well, I didn't drive, so why should I pay for petrol?
Living with
You'll
other
benefit
people
from
is-
the service,
yeah.
like.
What are like the things that annoy you about living with other
worst.
people?
The fucking shower.
Oh,
It was fucking pagan. It was disgusting. Like.
Yeah.
Just it wasn't even that it was like her or anything. It was just fucking, I don't know, it was like sludge. I don't even know where it came from and what the fuck it was. It was just sludge. Like you know, at least if it was fucking her or something, you could be like, oh, that's your hair, fucking clean that. Like,
Yeah.
it was just sludge. Like, it made no sense, and it was always fucking disgusting. Like. And then nobody wanted to clean it. Like.
No.
It's fucking brutal. Like.
It gets messy because you're like, I didn't do that, so I don't want to clean it. But then you're at the same time, you're like, this is disgusting.
I remember coming to,
because you still have to shower. Like, it's like the shower. Like, yeah, you don't want to clean it, but you still have.
I remember going to one of your flats, not saying which, because then it'll obviously put a massive like pointing the finger. But I remember the big thing was like, you walked in and I would have went back to his after mate, and he'd have been like, there's the bin full to the brim again. Like, you could have barely even shut the lid on it.
That wouldn't have been something that annoyed me as much, but I know that fucking annoyed you.
After a while,
I think it's like when you're always taking the bin down, and you're like,
yeah, that would annoy me.
Do you know what I mean?
See, I never used the bin.
Fucking cock, like. But that's, it just gets patty. Like.
But was there any times, like, I know, like, you obviously lost your head and like messaged into group chats and stuff, but was there any ever times where you were like living together and there's proper rows in the house, like in person rows? No. Did you two ever row?
Not really.
I don't think we ever rowed, did we?
No. But there was no like fucking.
There was never any big rows, like. But like, I had one big row, like.
Oh yeah, you did.
That was the only real one.
Yeah,
but I had like conversations before, like where you had to be
pretty
like,
adult, like when we were living.
We had to be like,
that's fair.
You don't like conflict, though. Like.
I don't mind conflict as long as I know I'm not have to see them the next day. Like. You know,
I'll fight with someone.
I'll fight with someone on the street, but see if I know I have to wake up the next day and look at you like I'm not fighting.
Whereas I just got to the stage where like, fuck this, like.
Yeah. See, I think you're very similar to me, like where you're like quite. Like, just, you don't like shouting, like it's like, or like getting in rows, like you'd rather just say nothing.
I just might want
you just would say nothing, whereas I'm like, nah,
whereas you're just
it gets to a certain stage, like dishes was a thing as well, like not doing the dishes.
But I think if I didn't live with you, I would have got to that stage, but I think you got there a bit quicker than I did,
because I had to just handle it, like.
You just got a lot more wicked, like. I would, like, obviously I do get wicked, like, but I think you got wicked a lot quicker than I did, so it was always fucking you going first and then.
Yeah, see, that would annoy me.
I always went to him for confirmation, because I remember there was one time when first year me living again, I rang him just one day and I was like, well, like, how do you feel about this? And he was like, oh, this is doing my head in as well. And I was like, oh, it's not just me, like.
Yeah.
And then taking things out of your room, like.
Oh, what the heck, like? No way. I wouldn't. No, that would be where the line's drawn for me, like. I think if it was things like not washing dishes, I think if I walked in and washed my dishes, I know my conscience is clear. I'm not saying anything, because again, I don't like to start rows. But like if us three were living together and I came home and you took, like, I hate that. Like if I'd walked into my room and you took something, I'd be like, nah, it's fair game, like I'm gonna row with you.
What I remember there was one time, like, there was like a t-shirt or something, and one of the ways we used to live was like wearing his t-shirt, and I was like,
I can't remember this, but it's in my head somewhere. Or was it? Or did we find clothes in his room or something?
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
There was one time
I can't remember the specifics.
We used to live with and he was wearing this t-shirt, and I was like, that looks familiar. And I was like, but you wouldn't wear something like I was like, you don't know, you know what I mean? It just sort of clicked. And then I think me and him went into his room then, and there was like loads of stuff, and we were like, what the fuck? And then there was another time, like, I had like a carry bag, like just like an overnight bag, took her to my room. He went away to meet a girl over in Scotland and give her the bag.
What?
And it was my bag, like.
Oh fuck!
And then I got Paddy, so I went in and took a bag out of his room, and I was like, well, that's mine then. You know that? You know the red bag?
Yeah.
That's his, like.
Is that the bag? That's a good bag.
Because I was just like...
I took it for all the podcast stuff, and as soon as I got the new case, he goes to me, I want that red bag back. And I went, over this red bag. And I goes, God, like, I've put it in the bag, like, I'll give it to you next time. He's like, no, like, don't forget it. And I was like, what the flip?
But that's the things I got.
So that's just annoying though. That's just someone who blatantly doesn't care. It's just all about themselves. Like,
But that's why it just didn't work out in the end.
Yeah,
Because there was, we lived with him for 3 years. We lived together for 4 years.
2.
No, it was 3. No, it was 3. But we lived with him for 2 years.
aye.
But like coming into the second year, me and Shea sort of realised we were like, we fucked up here. Like
Yeah.
we should have just left it. Like.
Yeah.
If he listens to this, it's a bit awkward. Like, but
You'll know for next time, though. You know who you are.
What do you think is an acceptable amount of time to leave dishes in a sink for?
that's a good question. Because like I would be quite like, I don't like doing the dishes straight after dinner. Like, but I think like,
See, I would. Like,
I think when they're-
I'd
I'm
do
hit or
them
miss,
straight
like.
after.
I think when they're piling up,
Depends.
like,
Or if
like
you have a
I
dishwasher.
think if there's 1 or 2 dishes in the sink and they're just sitting in the sink and they're not like piled up, where
I
it's
think that's a
disgusting.
bad thing because that's the start of it.
Yeah. See, I would be more
But
like as soon as
I'm
I
not saying
finish
I'm
it.
fucking someone who jumps up straight after
I
starts
think
washing my dishes, like. But
if you're going through all the dishes before you do the first dish, if you know what I mean,
yeah, that's bad.
that's bad. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, like a day. Like.
I think if it's
Probably
before,
like overnight.
before that night, yeah.
Like if you were waking up the next morning and like
Yeah.
say around lunchtime you had a break from work and you were cleaning up the dishes.
Mm.
from
Or even
last
if you
night,
done
that's
them the next morning, like-
that's fine. Like,
I think. But
yeah.
back then, I actually just wouldn't give a fuck if they were lying there for days. But it would have annoyed me. But you would have let it run on and be like, oh, they'll be clean, they'll be alright.
I'm intrigued to know
Such luck.
anybody who's listening or watching. Do you have any? Because obviously people have lived up uni and stuff. Some people may be
Yeah.
listening to this who are living up in uni accommodation at the minute, living ones, and they're like, let us know if you've any nightmare housemates. Messages or
What
emails.
do you have preferred? An unmessy house, untidy, or just someone who just fucking partied all the time and was always loud?
Because I don't know, like we didn't go out that much. Like
I know that's what I'm thinking. Like, yeah, we were fucked in terms of like messiness
I
and
don't
shit
think I
like
would
that.
have
But
minded
like,
someone
we weren't
going-
like.
I wouldn't mind someone going out all the time as long as they weren't just messy. Like,
Yeah.
but then
Or if they always had house parties,
if
and
they're
house that
always
you didn't
having
want
house
and all
parties,
that.
I don't think that would have worked. Like, because we wouldn't have been. But then would we have
Yeah.
been different if we had been living or something like that?
Maybe.
I've seen a thing here in Reddit about a bill, like, so like not paying bills. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this girl, this boy was living with all by on the boy messaged him and goes, "What happened to the Wi-Fi? Why does it say my device is paused?" The boy hadn't paid him for the Wi-Fi for 3 months, so he paused his device on the Wi-Fi, so he couldn't use it because he wasn't paying for it. Is this petty?
No, that's fair
No,
enough.
no, I think that's fair. Again, why should you put
Cer-
someone else out?
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? It's
If
as
you
simple
missed a
as that.
payment once and he was genuine about it, like that would be petty. But
3
3
months,
months,
like,
like
I
fuck
just
me,
think,
that-
see, people like that, like they're not your mate.
Yeah.
You're not
what I
gonna
mean?
get
They're
it
not-
back,
They don't
like.
care about you. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
the older I've got, the more I've kind of become. Like, if you were like,
But if you've got 3 months, like you're not getting that back.
yeah, no,
You just
100%
know
not.
that.
No.
Like that's
That's
one thing
gone,
I would we've obviously all never lived together, but like even day to day stuff, like if we go out on a night out rounds, we always like I'll get around, you get around, you get
Yeah.
around. It's the same thing going out for dinner. As soon as dinner's over, there's no like dicking around. We're all like, right, who's paying for that? Right, split that on Monzo. You know what I mean?
Have you
Like,
ever been out with someone who doesn't pay for drinks though?
I've been out with someone who would like hold off, like if we're like they don't like rounds. And they would hold off and hold off and hold off.
In what?
In
just
in
not
what
drink?
sense? In terms of like the hope that, say, if there's like 6 offers out, there's always that one person who would like hold
Try to
off
get
until
last
like
round.
maybe
get the last
like
round.
we're 5 in, and then people start to jot off and go home.
Oh.
And then they're like, oh, I suppose I may go up and get a round. And then it's like you're together like 3 people. You know what I mean? Whereas
so
like, I would be more
slyly.
like, it's the same thing. Like the other night we went down to Dublin. Like
So you couldn't get away with
as
3
soon as
people
as
doing
soon as the guy
that?
came, I'm just like, I just want this over and done with.
Yeah.
And bang. And then I know my conscience is clear. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
owe anybody money. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if you bought around, then you bought around, and then you were like, well, we go home. It's the same thing. Like the other night, you went to bed. Me and him went to the pub.
Yeah.
Right, in Dublin. And
He was holding off, and Ross like bang, bang, bang.
No, like,
you gonna pay?
I went up and bought. I
What's
went up.
that?
You bought the first.
Oh, these are free.
You bought the first round.
Right.
I bought the second round. Then
Right.
you bought the third round. And then you were like, God, mate, I couldn't drink anymore. And I was like, no, we're saucing, like.
Yeah.
And then you were like, nah, mate, like, you finished your Guinness. And then you had, because you went up, you got a Guinness, 2 Guinnesses. I went up and got 2 Guinnesses. Then you arrived down the table with 2 Guinnesses and 2 Morgans and Fanta.
That's right, yeah.
And I was like, oh, you having another Morgans and Fanta or something at least? And he was like, no. And I was like, no, like, you having something? He was like, no, I'll go up and you get. And I went up and just went 2 Morgans and Fanta, please. And then arrived back down and was like, here. And he's like, I don't even want that. I ended up drinking it. In fact, you know what the funny part was? I probably owe you money because I ended up drinking his original Morgans and Fanta because he got up off the table and left. And I went, well, I can't let good drink go to waste. That's probably why I was rapping near your door at 3 a.m. Aoife, Shea, are you up? No, like I've been out with people who are like that. Have you?
I can't really think of that time. The only time I can think of is that time we went to that football. Duncan reminded me of that today. Like. We went to the 5-a-side and went out after.
Right.
No money, a card and on.
No, I was like you that day.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, the fuck. We're only after a football game. We're like, get the rounds in the fuck, like.
And it was the
I was just
Euros
mad looking to pay,
final.
like, and throwing the money out, and then next thing, fucking.
Did he not get a bottle of wine?
That was the thing as well. That fucked me off because I was like,
But I was like, you know what?
I
Fair
knew what
enough,
he was
I'll get
like.
one back.
I know what he's like. I was like, because he was like, oh, what are you getting and all, and like I was like, oh yeah, or how are you ordering? And I was back like just out of COVID where you had to order on your phone. Like. And I was like, oh yeah, he's like, oh, I'm just ordering myself whatever here. I ordered it, bang. And then he got his, and it wasn't even like, oh, I'll get a pint, like, a bottle of wine. Like.
That's right.
I was like, you cheeky cunt, like.
Nah.
You're super. He was dying for a while. Like.
Oh my dad's boy.
But yeah, let us know in the comments. We'll wrap it up there. It's a bit of a long one, this one, but here anyway.
If you have any stories about bad housemates,
haunted stories, anything along the lines out there, any of the topics that we
You can
discussed,
send in a wee voice note on my play.
send in, shoot us a DM or contact us by email at here's the crack at gmail.com.
Who the fuck's emailing?
yeah, we'll put the link in the bio.
Some people might
Dear
want to
sir,
leave anonymous.
get
Like.
some-
Sir or madam.
Get some audience communication going. But yeah, until next time, thanks for listening.
Goodbye.
Bye.